запах может быть Джон или Сэм. Я знаю очень мало американских имен.
When I was a kid, I used to play war games with my friends and always make the Russians the bad guys.
Ты знаешь, я давно мечтала встретить тебя.
And in the movies, the KGB was always trying to sabotage the American way of life, whatever that is.
Я даже много раз думала, что скажу тебе.
Everything I ever heard about the Russians should have made me afraid.
Have you heard of Samantha Smith?
Samantha began our movement of children's diplomacy.
Yeah. Yes. You think that's a good idea?
Yes.
The kids here and all the people here are really much like Americans, except for the language. And I didn't have any trouble making friends.
The 9-year-old girl from Maine wrote about her fears of nuclear war to the chairman of the Soviet Union. Touched, he invited Samantha to visit his country. She touched the Soviets, she touched us all, and then she was gone, killed in a plane crash. But her dream of a U.S.-Soviet friendship is still alive.
We will remain friends across the sea. Let our countries be friends too.
A group of Soviet students is headed for Poland Spring after last night's gathering in Belfast. The students are part of an exchange program organized by the Samantha Smith Foundation. Susan Raff has more on these students on this special program.
52 Russian students are visiting the U.S. Belfast is one of many places these teenagers will see during their 4-week visit.
When I came, I was very surprised that all American people usually smile, and it's very nice and very beautiful.
These exchange students are guests of the Samantha Smith Foundation. They are staying at 12 peace camps throughout the state. They all know Samantha Smith and her efforts to bring about world peace.
I think that we Americans and Soviets, we are the same people.
It's more than just a traditional camp. It's really designed for the Soviet-American détente to take advantage of glasnost and bring people together as rapidly as possible through youth.
On opening day, 175 American, Soviet, and international teens arrive at the World Peace Camp in Poland Spring, Maine. The World Peace Camp is a nonprofit program dedicated to the memory of Samantha Smith, the Maine girl whose efforts to create Soviet, American, and international friendships are a model for young people all over the world. Campers live together 4 weeks in July in this camp setting of 200 acres with a mile-long private lake that is completely surrounded by camp property. Cooperating with the Samantha Smith Center, the World Peace Camp opened in 1989, with 56 Soviet campers arriving to attend this and other cooperating Maine residential youth camps. The theme of the World Peace Camp promotes global awareness and international friendship, especially between the Soviet Union and American nuclear superpowers. These goals are accomplished through sharing ideas in morning workshops, such as world issues and conflict resolution, and through a variety of recreational activities which build community.
Get your elbow and touch somebody else's knee, but you have to touch everybody's knee. Okay? By the time I count to 40, go! 19, 20, 21, 22,
You play this? No. Can you play it to finish, to the end? To the end, yes.
This?
Yes.
The guys, you know, go and get your bathing suits. Girls, go get your bathing suits on, and we'll meet down by the dock.
I guess it creates a community. It truly does. We have a community. And, you can't say that about a school except a residential school, a boarding school. Mm-hmm. And then there is something that camps do for kids and for adults that schools just don't. As a teacher, as an educator, I think I can say that with some experience and hindsight, that most of us are clamoring to return to camp in the summertime, and most of us are not clamoring to return to school in the fall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, stop it, please. Because in Russian we have a folk song. Bam 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 bam.
Wow, they have a song. They have the Russian folk song.
Yes.
Is this?
Dun 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 bam 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 bam.
I know the song you're talking about. It becomes different, but that part is the same. That part.
World Peace Campers choose from among 20 elective courses for the afternoon activity program. Such things as swimming, canoeing, sailing, water skiing, adventure ropes, stained glass, theater arts, modern jazz dance, ham radio, photography, and so forth. There are 3 elective classes each afternoon lasting for 1 week at a time.
Keep it.
Ребят, как если у всех хорошо.
Working today, put your tools back here and then clear everything off the table. Here they come. Come on, Ricky. Come on, Tony. You're late.
What's this? I've now added this switch, and if you notice, it says coax surge protector.
This is a type of transistor. Whenever basic electric device, it probably has an EVC for the name.
Yep.
In the morning, I have world issues and what's the other one I have? Oh, low ropes, which is it's just like a group thing of trust. You have to create trust for other people. In the afternoon, I have ground school because I'm taking flight instruction. I have universal understanding. And what's my other class then?
Ultimate Frisbee.
Oh yeah, ultimate Frisbee.
In the mornings, I have citizen diplomacy and peace studies.
I hear you're gonna be in a talent show tonight.
Yes.
Is it gonna be the best one?
Oh
Yeah!
There's a long Russian tradition which goes way back before revolution, and the tradition is that the women in the villages used to make dance in a circle around the trees and sing songs.
Alex Rosenzweig, born a Soviet refusenik in Moscow and now living in Brookline, Mass., introduces these Soviet dancers performing a dance typically performed by village peasant women. Campers laugh appreciatively as they realize that the peasant women are actually some Soviet male campers.
Yes, this afternoon's rehearsal, 3 o'clock today. We have 2 hours with the children. We're going to, at that time, we're going to introduce the project, and we're going to, remember yesterday we asked them, I'm going to ask them to write to them what peace means. What is peace? If it's not just a world without war, what is peace exactly? And then ask them what a Peace Day celebration might look like. And then how do they think they can get the attention of the world to pay attention and to work, to strive for peace.
Да. Причем самое главное, что игры во все времена у детей примерно одинаковые.
And it also has to do with the fact that games, you know, in all times and in lots of different places, are basically the same. That there's something fundamental about children's games that's very basic and very human and connecting.
И дети во всем мире умирают от хохота, когда смотрят Чарли Чаплина, вне зависимости от того, они русские или они.
And children of the whole world just, you know, die from laughter whenever they see Charlie Chaplin, no matter no matter what culture they are. There's something basic about that that's funny to them. And these children got together and got together and what they chose to do was to put on a play.
And they решили вставить пьесу.
So the thing is, these children are recreating the Peace Day ritual without even knowing it.
Introduction.
How can you spend so much money to her instead of help?
What was it like to live without peace? Why does anyone need to start a war? What was it like to swim in polluted water? How the people will live in war?
Who's next?
How the people could live in war? Will you tell me, what is war?
play Peace Child was performed 3 times to a standing room audience, numbering over 2,000 in the Little Theater of Lewiston, Maine. Over 1/3 of the camp participated in the cast of this joint Soviet-American musical theater production. Late at night, following the final performance, Mike Farrell translates for Soviet co-director Sergei Kazanovsky and American co-director Nancy Herman as they unwind from their intense month of rehearsals.
Language barrier was more than just the words. It was also trying to, I found myself sometimes overstepping probably the boundaries of being strictly an interpreter, which means you're just a medium through which somebody else is communicating. And sometimes I step past that and...
What did you become?
Well, one day I told Sergei off because I thought he was being unreasonable. And other times I just sort of tried to act as a little bit of buffer when both of them were tired and had about had enough. And
So you were a bit
I think
of a,
once in a while
of a
sometimes
counselor to them too.
Yeah, also once in a while I found myself saying, I think this is as much, sometimes I would just say, it's as much as I can do today, I can't do it anymore. And because I just felt that as much had been accomplished as could be.
Что все время рвалось, я думаю, знаете, что, наверное, происходил тот момент отторжения кусочка сердца, который уже останется в этой стране.
That sort of a part of my heart was torn out that's going to stay in this country.
During the first 2 class periods each day, all campers and staff participate in global awareness workshops like citizen diplomacy, world issues, Soviet life and culture, and environmental issues, or conflict resolution, conversational Russian, youth effectiveness training, or group initiative games. These informal workshops are discussion-centered and are taught by adult professionals on the World Peace Camp staff.
Your fingers so gross. You get burners?
Okay, these are so keep this in mind now when you see somebody angry or you're feeling angry yourself. Try to ask yourself, what are they feeling underneath the water level? It will really help you to become more accepting. And again, the purpose of the course and the purpose of the camp is to widen that pain, that window of area of acceptance. But everybody in camp will eventually come through this workshop. So it gives me a lot of opportunity to just develop relationships with everybody in camp on some level. Some of the kids I get to know better than others. And by the end of this session, which tomorrow will be our last session, we'll do a lot of role plays tomorrow. And often in tomorrow's session, there are tears, because one of the things that they do role plays around is, situations that are real for them in their lives. And sometimes there are tears. And we always end that by my saying, if there's ever a time that you need to talk with me, all you need to do is leave a note on my desk or find me in the dining hall, and we'll set up a time. Even if that's not a good time, we'll set up a time.
A perfect report card for the whole year for each member of your group. Nobody wants to bid on that. Okay. A free, all-expense-paid trip to Disneyland, the World Series, or a rock concert with anyone you choose.
I bid on that.
You'd like to bid on that?
No way.
Okay, talk to your group about it.
No way.
Yes, but we got 100 more, or 99 more.
I know, but what if they bid like 100 on everything and we're gonna work together?
But if they win peace in the world, then we win too.
To get world peace, you get it for everyone. So, as he said, you don't need to bid against each other. So if you had saved just 3 clips, you would have known you could have gotten the last 3. And if you said, okay, we'll bid 96 chips on whatever else and save those 3 in case everyone else spent all their chips, you could have still had them. A lot of the time, I think the importance of this is to realize a lot of the time we think that if we want world peace, we have to give up everything else, and that's really not true. And in fact, I think it's almost the opposite.
I wish that the world leaders could come here and see what's happening here, because if
if they were kids again and they had the chance to come here, I don't think we'd have the whole problem we have now, because my best friends here are Russian.
And I know that not one single one of the people here at this camp could ever harm us, and I could never harm them. And we are going to be the government someday. They are going to be the government of their country someday, and then we can't harm each other.
Do you have any reactions to it?
Very powerful movie, extremely powerful. I've never seen anything like it before in my life. They showed graphic scenes of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the effects, actual photographs and videos of the people who were killed and injured. And it showed them graphically, the only way they could do it to get their point across. And I sat there and I was crying inside.
It's very sad. That's how it used to be in my country. It's just look like my country.
In what way?
Like wars all together, you know.
So in your country there was war also?
Yes.
When you left there, was it like that?
Oh yes, definitely. I born when the war started. Sad.
Was that hard to watch?
Yes. It's make me think of my grandparents there, you know. They're in Cambodia.
Right. I like this camp, and I think that for all Russians and for all Americans, when we shall leave this camp, when the camp will over, it will be a very unhappy day, I think. So I like this camp very, very much. I like the nature because it's the same like in Russia. Right, and very, very welcome people.
What do you think about the kids, the American kids? Are they different than the Soviet kids?
No, Americans and Russians were all the same. And when I came to this camp, I met my pen pal. We had never seen her ever before. And so we exchanged letters, but we have never seen each other. Never. So it was I was very happy.
They're really friendly. Yeah, and they're very generous and very accepting of us. That we don't know their language. Yeah, yeah. They know a lot more about us than we know about them, which is unfortunate. We should learn more about.
The day-long World Game program, sponsored by the Buckminster Fuller Institute of Philadelphia, allowed campers to experience the world's distribution of populations, natural resources, and food production using a large global map which covered the recreation hall floor. Campers had the opportunity to act as world leaders as they bargained for their assigned country's unmet needs. This program has been presented for years at colleges and schools across America. Other programs include typically camp-style evening events, such as a talent show, Olympic night, dances, cookouts, and campfires. Guest speakers visiting the World Peace Camp may talk about a bridge over the Bering Straits connecting the USA and USSR, or human rights and ethnic or nationalistic oppression, or joint ventures between Maine sheep farmers and their Soviet counterparts. Out-of-camp trips are taken to the Northern Whitewater Rafting Center, to the Maine coastal beaches, roller skating, or exchange visits to share programs and our Soviet guests with other Maine camps.
We don't need weapons.
I see my light come shining from the west and to the east. Any day now, any way now, I shall be released. They say every man needs protection. They say that every man must fall.
That's not what you can do
Wait,
for
no,
your country.
I could probably substitute
What
something.
Wait, no. That's not what your
it's
country
fine.
can do for you, but
Okay.
what you can do for your country. I like that. In this age, when you're a teenager, you can easily change your mind. I think so. It's easy to have cooperation. We have no borders like adults have. We think that we are simple. We are an ordinary children. I don't know. It doesn't matter for me what nationality you are, from what country you are. The main thing, the important thing for me is, are you good? Are you kind? You see?
Here, it's like everybody is the same. Everybody's accepted the same. And it really has a lot of special meaning in it. And we're all here for the same reason.
What's that?
Trying to reach out for world understanding and world peace.
You exposed to everything we've been exposed to here. I mean, I've changed a lot inside, and I think I'll work a lot more towards world peace. I mean, a lot of people believe in it, they just not do anything about it because they haven't really been exposed to this. They don't.
And if I had had the opportunity to learn how to work with some of these communication tools that we've learned how to work with here, when I was 16 or 15 or 17 or 13, it would just be incredible what I would have already been able to accomplish up to now in my life.
1,000 Japanese origami peace crayons folded by camp supporters 6 years to 60 frame the corner of the camp dining hall during the closing banquet. After bonus dessert of Peace Pops provided by Ben & Jerry's, campers gather around the campfire for one last time. Poems and songs are shared, and most of all the memories, as campers form a candlelight procession, pausing for a moment to say a few words to each member of the camp community.
And we'll give all our love together. Then hand in hand we'll save the world.
175 handmade lanterns are set adrift on the camp lake to commemorate the following day's anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima as part of the International Peace Lantern Project. In the morning, when campers prepare to board buses and say their final goodbyes, Mrs. Jane Smith is on hand to receive a painting of Samantha from the Soviet delegation. In a matter of hours, the camp is suddenly quiet and still. World Peace Camp counselor Jane Zellick of St. Louis, Missouri, reflects on the summer's experience.
I'm just walking around camp today because everything is so empty and, you know, bare again like they were before. All the steel and dirt and just, you know, blank things. It's really emotional after having said goodbye to everyone today. And it feels so final, almost like death or something. But then it makes me think of, like, what we did here could be like a dandelion that, you know, the roots go really deep, just straight down and deep for a while first. And you don't see anything from that, but it's so deep that even if you rip up that plant, it'll grow back. Even if this year, you know, they don't do anything concretely. different, even if they just go back to school and have, a normal sophomore year at high school or something, even if nothing comes to fruition from this right now, if you don't see concrete changes, that I think that, the experience is such a deep one that it will still be there, it will still have an impact. Like after the dandelions bloomed and then turned white and it looks like it's dead and someone's blown away all the seeds and you just have this stump left. It looks like this empty place. And you think, gosh, was that worthwhile at all? What we did, you think it's just over and you want to see something. You want to know where all those little seeds went and what they're going to be doing and how it was important. But you don't need to know. You just know that it bloomed, it was beautiful, and the wind took it and spread it all over the place. And then that those are each little seeds flying in the breeze. And when the time's right, they'll plant.
In June of 1986, 20 of Samantha Smith's classmates went to the Soviet Union as part of a peace and friendship exchange project with Soviet young people. By retracing Samantha's original route, the students visited Leningrad and Moscow, where they met with Soviet young people from these two cities. The highlight of the exchange, however, was an extended stay of 5 days at Artek, a Soviet pioneer camp on the Black Sea. This tape documents their experiences in Artek, where the Americans gained a real opportunity to get to know some of the Soviet campers. At Artek, the Americans participated in all the activities and duties of camp life. They slept in rooms with Soviet youth and were issued the same uniforms. The sole exception is that the Americans did not receive the red scarves, which are the insignia of the young Soviet pioneers and must be earned. In the images that follow, you can tell the Americans from the Soviets most frequently by their lack of these scarves.
I think that we must know more about American children, and American children must know more about us. We must be friends, and friends cannot be in war. And if we shall be friends, there will be no war at all.
What we do reflects not only on our group and every person in the group, but the United States. I mean, these people are gonna tell all their friends how we acted, and so however we act, that's gonna reflect on the United States.
Together in the same area, so we're gonna be
I'm going to be 2 minutes from you. All the adults are staying 2 minutes away from you. We'll see you at dinner in a minute. Your luggage will be arriving. Your luggage will be arriving here momentarily. Probably it might be in your room when you get there. You're going to be sleeping in groups in large cabins of 10 with like 3 of us and 7 Soviets, or 2 of us and 8 Soviets. You'll be in, they're going to divide you up themselves into these groups of, the girls will be in 3 groups of 3 and 1 group of 2. You'll be in a cabin with 10 kids.
So what do you guys think?
I don't know.
It's great.
Does anybody speak English?
Like, we don't know. We just guess.
Samantha's the reason we're here. I mean, a lot of people will sit home and complain to each other. I mean, even though her letter may not seem much to other people, I mean, that's all it took. I think she was the first child to come here to really change their opinion about Americans, because I'm sure they've had stereotypes about us as I know we have about them.
I kind of thought that all the Soviet kids who would be meeting would be set up right to meet us. I mean, they would all speak English, and they'd all be right up on the issues that we were going to talk about. But I haven't found that. I mean, here in Arctic, I can hardly find anyone that speaks English.
I thought this would be kind of like a resort place for children of heads of government. But yeah, I mean, they'd be like really formal and kind of arrogant, but it's not that way. I also had a stereotype that they're like you had a big brother always looking over you. I don't really feel that I'm being watched all the time.
I was really scared because I thought they were going to ask me like these really technical political questions about like foreign affairs and our government system, which I know some about, but not as much as other people. And I was afraid that they'd know more about our government than I did, but I didn't get asked by anybody.
I thought they'd be more reserved, quiet, you know, but it's just not that way. They're just like any other immature American running around. I mean, some of them are, some of them aren't, most of them aren't. But it's interesting just breaking all these stereotypes just by being around them. I mean, I don't even come close to being able to speaking their language, and it's just neat just to watch them.
I think the funnest part was at night when we were all supposed to be asleep and we all like went around in our nightgowns and took the bed sheets and were dancing around in the bedroom. And then our chaperone came in and we all jumped into our beds and pretended we were asleep.
During the rest period, I mean, no one went to sleep. They just kept giving us more and more gifts. And this one kid had a stamp book, and he gave me all the stamps out of it one by one, and then he came over and gave me the stamp book.
We were in a room with nobody really spoke English. I mean, you usually talked with your hands or anything. Sometimes they didn't even understand you then.
3 days. 3 days. 3 days.
No, you.
No,
How
you.
long do you stay in Arctic?
You stay.
When we first got the uniforms, some people automatically said they hated them. Towards the end, we found out that we only had to wear them for special events, and people started to feel more comfortable about the uniforms.
It's part of their culture for people to constantly hold hands or arms. It was kind of frustrating sometimes because I wasn't used to being tugged around. I just had to keep reminding myself that this is the way they do things, and I should play by their rules while I'm in their country.
And sometimes we play games before lunch or breakfast. They would sing a song and they'd want us to sing along with them.
Nervous. Because in front of all these people.
First, we don't know what we're doing. You know what your competition is at all?
No.
It seems like they're really competitive. We're doing some sort of weird relay races where we use some sort of gadget in every race. And I guess we practiced a few of them yesterday.
Yeah, but the water was so cold yesterday.
I know.
The water was 10 degrees centigrade yesterday. Today it's 18 degrees centigrade. I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit, but it doesn't sound too warm.
What is 18 degrees centigrade?
Peace letters, and painted the bottles. We are going to throw out these bottles into the neutral zone in the sea, and we hope that somebody will find them. I wrote that all people all over the world need to live in peace, but if it will be a new war, it will be the last war, and all mankind will die. I think that maybe seamen will find this bottle, and I want them to show these letters to their children and to their friends, and I hope that they understand that. I think that the goal of this action, to throw out the bottles, is to make people to think and to make them to fight against the arms race.
Wherever we went, there was just love and caring. The kids that we met and made friends with, they all cared about peace. They cared about Sam, too, a lot. It was just wonderful. Well, if I wanted more of anything, I'd stretch the trip out about 3 times longer and just do the whole thing all over again.
I did have a really good time because the kids were really nice, and we got to meet quite a few of them there, and sleeping in the same bunks with them, you kind of get to know them a little better and the weird little things they do at night.
I told him I threw his hat overboard.
If I were, giving advice to somebody who's taking a trip, go with an open mind, just forget about what you hear in the news and what other people have told you about how Soviet people are terribly oppressed and that sort of stuff, and just see for yourself.
Their food is very different, and their culture is different, and just their way of life, and that it's not wrong, it's just different. but it didn't get in the way of any of us, I don't think.
I expected there to be black and white people on the street, you know, with black and white clothes on and black and white personalities. But I found that they really weren't. They were real people. I didn't realize that until I found someone who spoke German, and that I didn't have to have a translator to communicate. When we first got to Artec, I kind of felt pressured, you know, that I would do something really bad and really wrong that would make the United States look like a bunch of twerps. But towards the end, I felt a lot more comfortable. And the kids started to like me a little more, I think, once I started to look and feel more comfortable around them. I let loose a little bit more, and I had more fun towards the end. I now know how easy it could be for the people of all the world to learn to live together in peace. Only if the adults of the world would give the children a chance to meet one another.
The way I've registered on how well we did is by what the Soviets treated us like. They treated us well, so I guess we made a good impression on them.
I think we've learned a lot to respect other people and their way of life. It makes you mature. I know we had gotten to know them so well in such a short time. It was just so hard to say goodbye.
When you have to leave them and most likely never seeing them again the rest of your life, it's really hard to say goodbye. So like we gave each other our addresses and we're gonna exchange photos, and I gave my rings away.
It's not over yet, because part of what I need to accomplish is to be able to tell people about what it's like there. Well, for me anyway, the Soviet Union is not as it looks in books, in pictures, in textbooks. I got a totally different feeling from being there, and rather than seeing it as a bunch of old buildings and a war memorial, it's a place where people live, and that makes it a lot more like home to me.
Well, Artek is a very big camp. It consists of 10 camps. And in our camp we have received about 400 children simultaneously. And in the whole camp Artek, they are having a rest simultaneously in summer about 4,000 children. And in winter, twice less. I mean 2,000 children only. Because we have some camps, some of them, 5 of the 10 camps are working only in summer and in winter, and some of them work only in winter. And as we have our Artek school for kids, they can go to school in our camp Artek, and they can have rest. They can have rest not only in summer but in winter too either. And what about activity of children? They are singing, dancing, preparing performances, talking much, discussing very difficult, very hard problems of peace, of friendship, of international coexistence, and so on.
Do the kids, are there any activities? I mean, what do they play? Do they play ball or?
They play different, do you mean sport games? They play volleyball, basketball, football, and what else? We have our own game. It is called, just a moment. Sniper. Is there such a word in English?
Mm-hmm.
Sniper. This is a very interesting game with the ball.
Great. What were your first, tell me about Samantha Smith and your first impressions of her.
My first impressions of Samantha Smith. First I saw her on our television, on our TV set, and she seemed to me to be quite grown up. But when I saw her first, in reality, she was so little, about 10 years old she was only. She was a really pretty girl, and she was very clever. Her thinking was like a grown-up, like an adult. But nevertheless, she was a real child. She liked torches, chocolates, she liked sports and so on. But the first impression was a very beautiful, a very nice kid. And then I understood that she was very sincere, open-hearted. I liked her very much.
Were you scared to take the job with her, to work with her at first?
To work with her? Will you repeat please once more?
Yeah, when you first heard that you would work with Samantha Smith, what did you think?
I was afraid a little bit. Because I had not practiced for a long time and speaking English, I mean. And then second, I have never seen Americans before, or foreign children before. And I had no experience of speaking with them, of communication with the foreign children. And that's why I was afraid a little bit. But after it, I got accustomed to her very quick. She was so sincere, so nice girl.
Tell me more about Camp Artek. What is the food like?
The food? If to compare with the food in Wild Peace Camp, it's quite different, almost different. And maybe because in the whole Soviet Union, the food is quite different. The first food we have in the morning at 9 o'clock. It is called breakfast. Children can take omelette or scrambled egg, coffee, sandwiches, maybe, how to explain, paste.
Pastry?
Paste, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And different pastes. And it is for breakfast. And in the afternoon, at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, they usually have, we call it dinner. It is dinner for us. And they can be hot soups, different kind of soups. And then, for example, fried meat or fried fish, that is the second dish. Potatoes, salads, and different juice, compotes and so on. And this is for dinner. And the next food we have after our sleeping. All children in Arctic must sleep, after dinner. And after they sleeping, they go to the dining room again, and there they can eat rolls and to drink something, I mean juice and so on, or maybe milk. And the next food will be taken in the afternoon at 7 or sometimes 7:30 in p.m. And they have something fried. I mean, maybe meat or fish or potatoes again, or some vegetables, very many vegetables, and something to drink again. Juice, compost, tea, coffee, so on. And in summer, sometimes we have the second supper, we call it. The second supper, it is something very light to eat, because all children become hungry just before they are going to go to bed. And that's why they drink milk or tea with rolls or something, with cake sometimes. Oh, that's all about food.
What about the cabins? What about where they stay?
The cabins, well, they're different in different camps. I mean, Artex camps. Sometimes they are very great buildings. And as to take our so-called mountain camps, there are three. And in our camp there are 400 children, and one building is a whole camp, and all 400 children live in this very big building. Well, but sometimes in our in our old camps, there are not just like these cabins, like in Welpers camp, but something like they're very round of these four, and children can live there only in summer, because in winter it may be very cold there. And there are other buildings for example, for 200 or for 100 children, and they can rest there spontaneously. Well, you know that half of Artek is built like a little town, a little city, and some parts of it or some camps of it seem to be like real camp. But we have no tents. But some houses are summer houses, only summer houses.
How long have you been at Artek?
It's about 7 years.
7 years. What do you think about the American and Soviet children? Are they very different? What are your impressions?
My first impressions about Americans, a very friendly attitude, almost a friendly attitude between each other. And the life in this camp, I mean, well, this camp, seems like the life in communism. Everybody is like a relative to each other. I like the Americans very much. I have never thought before that all American girls are so nice, so pretty. That was my first impression about them.
What about the children? Do you think the children are any different than the children you work with at Artek?
I suppose that all children are very similar to each other. When they're really children, they are very similar. But then, when they become grown-ups, they differ very much. But all children are just the same. They can argue with each other. They like to play games. They like chocolates and so on. They like sweet candies. And all of them are gay, pretty. I like children very much.